Intelligence is a trap. The smartest people I know are broke. And the richest people I know? They're not geniuses, they're strategic. There's a difference. In this video, I'll show you why being smart doesn't make you rich, why it often keeps you poor, and the exact mindset shift you need to break the cycle. Because if you're intelligent and broke, this video is for you. Here's the paradox nobody talks about. Smart people are trained to find the right answer. But in wealth building, there is no right answer. There's only action and iteration. Smart people overanalyze. They see all the variables, all the risks, all the ways it could fail, and they freeze. Meanwhile, people with average intelligence just start. They don't know enough to be paralyzed by possibilities. They act, they learn, they adjust. And while the smart person is still planning, the average person is already profiting. This is the intelligence trap. The more you know, the more you see what could go wrong. And the more you see, the less you do. Let me show you the 5 reasons smart people stay poor. Reason number 1: analysis paralysis. Smart people need certainty. They want to understand everything before they move. They research, they analyze, they model scenarios. They wait for the perfect plan. But perfection is a prison, because the perfect plan doesn't exist. Markets change, variables shift, information is incomplete. And while you're waiting for perfect clarity, opportunities pass you by. Dumb money doesn't wait. Dumb money moves fast, fails fast, and learns fast. Smart money waits, hesitates, and misses. I've watched brilliant people spend years preparing for a business they never start, analyzing investments they never make, planning lives they never live. They die with the best research and 0 results. Here's what smart people don't understand. Wealth is built through iteration, not perfection. You don't figure it all out and then execute. You execute, learn, and adjust. Every successful entrepreneur will tell you the same thing. Their first version was terrible. Their first product sucked. Their first attempt failed. But they shipped it anyway. And each failure taught them something the research never could. Smart people want to skip the failure. They think intelligence means avoiding mistakes. But mistakes are the curriculum. And if you're too smart to fail, you're too smart to succeed. The real intelligence is knowing that action beats analysis. That done is better than perfect. That momentum compounds faster than planning. Reason number 2: over-credentialing. Smart people collect degrees like trophies. Bachelor's, master's, PhD, certifications, licenses. They think credentials equal value. But the market doesn't care about your resume. It cares about what you can deliver. I know people with 3 degrees and 6 figures of debt who make $40,000 a year. And I know people who dropped out of high school making 7 figures. The difference? One group studied, the other built. Smart people confuse education with execution. They think more learning equals more earning. But learning is infinite. You can study forever and build nothing. At some point, you have to stop learning and start doing. But smart people are addicted to learning. It feels productive. It feels safe. You can't fail if you're still preparing. And that's the trap. Here's the brutal truth. Credentials are a crutch. They're a way to avoid the risk of creation. If you're constantly getting another degree, another certification, another course, ask yourself, are you learning? Or are you hiding? Because there's a difference between education and procrastination. Education serves execution. Procrastination avoids it. And most smart people are just really good at intellectual procrastination. They convince themselves they're not ready yet. They need one more skill, one more certificate, one more year. Meanwhile, less educated people are building, failing, learning, and winning. They don't have the luxury of endless preparation, so they just start. And starting, however imperfect, is the only thing that leads to wealth. Reason number 3: risk aversion. Smart people see risk everywhere. They calculate probabilities. They model worst-case scenarios. They hedge against everything. And they end up taking no meaningful risks at all. They keep money in savings accounts earning 0.5%. They stay in stable jobs with predictable paychecks. They avoid entrepreneurship because the failure rate is high. And they wonder why they're not wealthy. Here's what they miss. Wealth requires asymmetric risk. You risk a little to gain a lot. You risk time to build equity. You risk failure to create leverage. The smart person sees the 70% chance of failure and stays safe. The wealthy person sees the 30% chance of success and bets big. Because one successful bet can change everything. Let me be clear. I'm not saying be reckless. I'm saying smart people are too careful. They optimize for safety over opportunity. They protect what they have instead of building what they could have. And that's a losing strategy, because inflation eats safety. Comfort becomes stagnation. And playing it safe is the riskiest move of all. The wealthiest people I know took massive risks. They bet on themselves when no one else would. They quit stable jobs to build businesses. They invested money they couldn't afford to lose. They chose uncertain upside over certain mediocrity. And yes, many failed, but the ones who succeeded built generational wealth, while the smart, safe people are still collecting paychecks. Reason number 4. Intellectual arrogance. Smart people think they're too smart to learn from others, especially if those others are less educated. They dismiss advice from people without degrees. They ignore strategies from people who didn't go to their schools. They think intelligence equals superiority, and that arrogance keeps them broke. Because wealth isn't about being the smartest. It's about learning from those who've done it. And often, the people who've built wealth don't have impressive credentials. They have results. They have systems. They have experience. But the smart person can't learn from someone they see as beneath them intellectually. So they stay stuck in theory while others build empires. Here's the shift. Respect results over credentials. If someone is wealthy, they know something you don't. It doesn't matter if they can't explain it in academic terms. It doesn't matter if they didn't read the books you read. They have what you want. So study them, model them, learn from them. Drop the arrogance, because the market rewards results, not intelligence. And if you're smart but broke, clearly your intelligence isn't the variable that matters. Execution is. Systems are. Action is. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can learn from people who are less smart but more successful. Because they've figured out what you're still theorizing about. Reason number 5. Income versus equity thinking. Smart people optimize for income. They chase high salaries. They negotiate raises. They climb corporate ladders. And they trade time for bigger paychecks. But wealthy people optimize for equity. They build assets. They own businesses. They create systems that generate value without their time. Smart people think linearly. More hours equals more money. Wealthy people think exponentially. Better systems equal unlimited money. The doctor makes $400,000 a year but owns nothing. The entrepreneur makes $50,000 a year but owns a business worth $10 million. Who's wealthier? The smart person sees the salary and envies the doctor. The wealthy person sees the equity and envies the entrepreneur. Here's what smart people don't understand. Income has a ceiling. Equity doesn't. You can only work so many hours. You can only charge so much per hour. But equity compounds. It scales. It grows without you. And that's the game. Stop chasing paychecks. Start building assets. Stop trading time. Start building systems. Because the highest paid employees are still employees. And employees, no matter how smart, will never be as wealthy as owners. This is the shift. From labor to leverage. From income to equity. From working in the system to owning the system. And smart people resist this shift because it requires giving up the safety of a paycheck. It requires risk. It requires betting on yourself. And that terrifies them. So how do you break the cycle? How do you escape the intelligence trap? Here's the framework. Step 1. Action over analysis. Set a deadline. 30 days, 60 days, whatever. But at the end of that deadline, you launch. You don't have to have it perfect. You don't have to know everything. You just have to start. Because starting creates data. And data creates clarity. You can't think your way to wealth. You have to build your way there. So stop researching, stop planning. Start building. Even if it's messy. Even if it's small. Just start. Because momentum beats preparation every single time. Step 2. Learn from results, not credentials. Find someone who has what you want. I don't care if they're educated. I don't care if they're articulate. Do they have the results? Then learn from them. Study their systems. Model their behavior. Ask them questions. Pay them if you have to. Because learning from someone who's done it is worth more than 10 degrees from people who theorize about it. Drop the arrogance. Embrace humility. Results are the only credential that matters. Step 3. Take asymmetric bets. Stop playing it safe. Find opportunities where you risk little to gain a lot. Start a side business with minimal investment. Create content that costs you time but could generate income forever. Invest in assets that compound. Make bets where failure costs you small but success changes everything. Because one good bet erases 100 failures. And smart people are so afraid of the 100 failures that they never make the one bet that works. Shift your mindset. Risk intelligently. But risk. Step 4. Shift from income to equity. Stop optimizing your salary. Start building assets. Stop negotiating raises. Start negotiating ownership. Stop climbing ladders in companies you don't own. Start building companies you do own. This is the hardest shift because it requires giving up short-term income for long-term equity. But it's the only way out. Because income is linear, equity is exponential, and exponential is where wealth lives. Let me leave you with this. Intelligence is a gift. But it's also a curse if you don't know how to use it. The smartest people stay poor because they think too much and do too little. They analyze when they should act. They collect degrees when they should build businesses. They play it safe when they should take risks. They look down on people with results. And they chase income when they should build equity. But you don't have to be one of them. You can use your intelligence strategically. Not to avoid risk, but to take calculated risk. Not to overplan, but to iterate fast. Not to collect credentials, but to build systems. Intelligence plus action equals wealth. Intelligence without action equals poverty with a degree. Next week, I'll show you exactly how to build wealth in your 20s, even if you're starting from zero. If this resonated, subscribe. Share this with a smart person who's stuck. And remember, being smart isn't enough. Being strategic is everything. Welcome to Wealth Systems.